and everything. That's
Yeah.
really good. And on top of that, the other thing that's really good is that we're seeing you climb. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
we started, what, Iron, technically, because first solo queue games on this account, right?
Mhm.
All right, and you've done 52 games, right? Which we can see here.
Uh-huh.
And you've got a 55% win rate. A 55% win rate is great. You usually won't have a 55% win rate if you're where you're exactly supposed to be. But realistically, we can take that and say that because you're pretty much one-tricking Anivia, you're more of a 59% win rate. So
Mhm.
realistically, you're probably, if I had to guess, high silver, low gold right now. Once you put in 100 games, you might even be like mid gold, high gold.
Okay.
So that's a really good start. You see how much more chaotic solo queue is, and it kind of forces you into an environment where your individual skill dictates more of the game.
Yeah, a little bit.
And that's something that, like, I think is really important for us to kind of like pay attention to. Now,
Mhm.
something I want to talk about here is that, like, let's take a look at, so this is your performance, right? And then this is your
Mhm.
average bronze Anivia, right? So, like, when it comes to bronze, outperforming. When it comes to silver, outperforming. When it comes to gold, you can see here that, like, your creeps per minute is actually
Mhm.
lower than, a lot of other areas where people would actually
Uh-huh.
have higher creeps per minute than you. It's weird
Okay.
that this is not working, but maybe I just need to restart it. I hate it when Epic Pen doesn't work, but every now and then it's a little weird.
Hey, but the fact Mary playing as a gold level is magnificent. My eyes.
Yeah,
That's how I
right?
never.
So like,
Oh, I
and
see.
we're talking specifically about, right, like creep score right
Mhm.
here, right? Because your gold per minute's fine, but your gold per minute's
Uh-huh.
fine because you're dealing a lot of damage and you're involved in a lot of team fights and you're getting a lot of kills and a lot of kill participation, right? But
Mhm.
this is going to be the main thing that we still really got to focus on, and the reason being is because as you go up in rank, people make less
Mhm.
mistakes, which means the kills go down, the team fights go down, and the amount of gold you're going to get from those things goes down. So as the game
Okay.
gets less volatile, we have to focus on the things that, like, are controllable factors, right? So
Mhm.
then we'll kind of keep looking here, and you can see how, right? Like, if we
Uh-huh.
were to look at Masters and Nivea, you can see how this falls off over here, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't to say that, like, these are guaranteed, like, oh, this is a problem, this is not a problem, but this does
Mhm.
kind of give you insight as to, like, all right, how far is the gap for, like, if we're gonna try and get you to diamond, right?
Mhm.
If diamond's our goal, which is kind of what we've discussed, and that's what we're shooting for, right?
Yeah.
CS, gold per minute, and kills and assists is kind of where we're missing out here. Now, we can look down here specifically and get into more detail on
Mhm.
these, right? But what I want to see right now is farming. So, this is minutes, right?
Uh-huh.
So, what do you see, or in terms of gold advantage, right? And minions
Mhm.
killed. So, level, we're doing pretty good, right? Pretty
Mhm.
standard. Okay. Level advantage, you're spiking heavily at around 20 minutes, which is to be expected because, we started working on the fact that around this area, what is everybody else in bronze and silver and gold doing? They're roaming, right?
Mhm.
And we've been practicing staying put in lane, so that's why you see this big XP jump.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, minions killed, you can see here that right around 20 minutes, you
Mhm.
fall off drastically, and we're seeing an increase here.
Mhm.
Okay, so the 20-minute mark is kind of like we're shooting for that 170, right? But the reason we're
Yeah.
sitting for that 170 is because that's around 8.5 per minute.
Mhm.
After this, we still want to maintain 8.5 per minute. So that's what we talked about, where like we don't want to walk away from those side lanes and not pick up CS and stuff. And
Yeah.
vice versa, right? Like you're still seeing a big spike right here in the 15 to 20 mark, because that's where, right, enemy laners are roaming, they're not paying attention, and you're still scaling.
So which part's the important part? Because there's some down, some.
So yeah, this graph is a little
Is-
wonky. I hate this graph, to be honest. The most important thing is what I'm seeing is I'm seeing 15 to 20, you're substantially getting a lead over your opponents. And then after 20 minutes, it's like we forget that we need to be farming and we just go straight to team fighting.
Well, it's gotten to the point now where it's like, I see what you mean. Like one person at least farms per game. I've learned that now.
Mm-hmm. And for example, right, like when we look at fighting, let's look at this, okay? So this is your performance, right? Where do your kills spike the most heavily? We have a decent incline here, and then it goes
30,
up a little
probably.
bit right here, right? And then if we're looking at kills and assists, it's decent, but like right around here, your kills and assists are going up. Now that makes sense because there's going to be a lot more objective fighting around this time, right?
Yeah.
But we got to make sure that we're not completely getting sucked into this. And then, because what happens is, and I know you know what I'm talking about, 20 minutes, there's an objective, right? We spend the next 3 to 4 minutes running around with our team, when realistically we should have spent 1 minute with our team, and these other 3 minutes we're just walking around.
Okay.
Now, vision, perfectly fine. Not going to worry about it too much. Pings, we're not going to get into like pinging or anything crazy right now. But this is just kind of to show you, like, I think it helps to zoom out, right, and take a look at kind of, if we were to go look at, you know, like who's the best Anivia player in the world right now, who's kind of like a one trick. All right, this guy has been playing a ton of Anivia. He's a one trick. Challenger, Challenger, Diamond, 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 etc. Right? Really good Anivia player. Let's look at his Anivia stats. Okay, you know, you can see deaths, almost none. Kills and assists, stays above average. Kill participation, very much above average. Damage dealt. Let's look at his farming. Right, his farming is... This guy's keeping a gold advantage on his opponent via farm from like 5 minutes on. He's got a minion advantage all the way to 20 minutes. You know, so it never hurts to go look at sometimes these people's profiles who are, you know, way higher up, and just kind of like scroll through, look at what they're doing and everything. Lots of, let's see, lots of Ignite. Is he taking anything different? He's taking Ignite into some matchups. Looks like this matchup was actually into a Yasuo. So he took Ignite. TP. Okay, interesting. So, we're talking about 1v1s, right? That's what we want to get working on next. Now, the reason I kind of start our session today with talking about farm, which I know we've talked about before, is because I don't want, when we get into this 1v1 discussion, there's going to be 3 components to a 1v1. And the most important components to a 1v1 is, I'll kind of get into the game here and we'll start unpacking them. But you never prioritize 1v1ing your opponent over your lane state and over like the actual macro and objectives in the game, right? Okay, so we're gonna review this because you kill this person, and we're gonna see how, why, you know, does this happen. So first thing we need to unpack when we're looking at 1v1s is matchups, right? So when you look at this matchup, Cat wants what kind of trade? Does she want a short trade or does she want an extended trade?
She wants a short trade.
She wants a short trade. Exactly. Now, you as Anivia, what do you want? Short or extended?
Extended.
Yeah, you want extended. Right? You can do short because you're taking electrocute and you can do a short bit of damage, but in an extended trade, if she has her ult up, right, your ults are both extended, so I would say your ultimates are both extended. But in terms of your basic kits, both of your basic kits are built around short trades. A good way to look at this to understand if someone wants an extended or a short trade is if someone has low cooldowns and they can use their abilities 4 or 5 times in a fight, they want an extended trade. If you can use your abilities like 3 to 4 times in a fight over the course of like 6-7 seconds, you're the short trade, they're the extended trade.
Okay.
Especially because she's also running Conqueror, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of people look at Assassins and they're like, oh, Assassins always want short trades. Not true. Like Akali is way stronger in an extended trade. She has an execute on her ultimate, but what Akali actually wants to do is she wants to hit you once, twice, 3 times with her Q, then once, twice with her E, then once with her R, and then another time with her R, right? So it's like, this is not a short trading pattern. Okay, so we've identified the trading pattern. Good. That's first. Second, we've identified the sums. Okay. If she has Ignite, or a combat summoner, it heavily trades this. Now, I like what you did here. You attempted to hold the Q. We missed the Q at point blank, which is kind of a bummer. But I see the intention, right? You're holding the Q so that as soon as she takes that E, you can Q, E, and then run out, right? That's the intention. She takes a tower shot here. You trade back autos. Very good to trade back autos there. Alright. Now let's watch how this plays out. Everything about winning 1v1s is based off of wave states and everything else. Okay. Now. Why are you going to win this 1v1?
Because I have my egg and there's so many minions.
Egg? Wave state? Right? We missed our Q, which is really unfortunate. If we held our Q, this would be even better. Because maybe she makes this mistake even if you hold the Q, right?
Yeah.
So give her the opportunity to mess up. And yeah, it's exactly what you said, right? Like, she goes in on you. Your minions are just blasting her. And then you barely win it, right? So the most important thing that we're getting into when we're talking about winning trades is number one is always, always, always going to be matchup. And what I say by matchup is understanding how champions want to play the game. If I'm playing Urgot, top, who I've played a lot of, and I'm fighting, or let's not say I'm playing Urgot. Let's make it even simpler. Let's say you're playing Nasus, right? You've played Nasus before. Level 1.
Yeah.
And there's a Darius level 1. Are you fighting this ever?
Oh, no.
No.
God,
absolutely not. It's suicidal, right? That'd be crazy. So, understanding the matchup. Now, if you're fighting a Darius who's 0-4, and you're 4-0, and you have a 2-level lead and 1 item lead, are you fighting him?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
100%, right? So, that's always going to be the first thing is matchup. Because if you're down in levels, if you're down in items, if you're not into a winning lane matchup, you're not looking for the 1v1. You're looking to get in a more favorable position. The biggest mistake that people make in League of Legends, and this is something that you can kind of just use as a general rule, is ask yourself when you look at matchups, is this a fair fight? And if it's a fair fight, don't fight. Don't ever fight fair, ever. Fight where you have a distinct, clear advantage and it's not fair to the opponent.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the second time. Fight happens. Alright, we get a kill here. I like the flash. Okay. Got a very big wave here. Hopefully you get 6 and you just burn this. Man, it's taking you a long time to get 6 though. That's unfortunate. Do you know why you want to burn this at 6?
So the minions go back to being equal? Is that like the main?
Yes, but the main reason you want to burn this at 6 is because you're sitting on gold you haven't spent yet. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So you just got like an assist and a bunch of extra gold, so you want to set up your reset. And the easiest way to set up your reset is obviously just to get the wave shoved in. Now she is absolutely trolling. Please tell me she dies for this. Oh my gosh. Okay, she does. Nice, you just ear. Yeah, and then you just burn this wave. Do you see how easier it has become to kind of manage the waves by burning the waves with your ultimate?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Alright, so now we're in a position where it's not a fair fight, right? But it's more of a fair fight than you think. And do you know why, when you look at your items, why it's more of a fair fight than you think?
Because she pretty much has the lifesteal, but she has, well, she's about to hit level 6 from here.
Think
In
less
which she
about
gets her main
levels.
jump.
Let's say that she's level 6 and you're level 6. Like, completely ignore that. Think specifically about items at this point in the game. Do you have combat items?
No, not really.
No. So you have 2 kills and you're up in gold, but it's something very important to remember on Anivia that you can have a lead like that and it cannot have a impact combat wise if you don't have items for fighting, right? You have items for scaling. So keep that in mind when you're buying things, and you're like, because you can be 4-0, but if you don't have any combat items, you know, your level lead will help you a little bit. But that's the second thing that kind of ties into matchup, is what the items actually are, right? Okay. The second part of 1v1ing is going to be spacing. Especially mid lane. Now, Katarina is a bit of a hard matchup in terms of like looking at spacing because of just the way that the character moves. But I'm just going to go to a dark spot on the map here so we can draw a little bit and kind of explain this. So let's say that this is Ahri right here, okay?
Yeah.
And this is you. Ahri Charm has a range of about here. Ahri Q has a range of about here. And then Ahri W has a range of about here, okay? Your Q, change your color here. Your Q has a range of this, right? So your goal is to play right here in lane. And every single time she moves up to try and get in range with her abilities, this is where you're looking to play. Now, the reason you're looking to play here is because you can chip damage down on her completely safe and lose no health. Now, the difficult thing about the Ahri matchup, right, is she can dash and immediately get in range, right?
Yeah.
So what you're trying to do is not throw your Q out and initiate the fight. What you want to do when you're spacing properly for a 1v1 is you want to be moving in and out of this little pocket here. Every time there's not a minion and there's not a last hit, every time there's not a last hit, you should just be jiggling back and forth, 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 back and forth. And the reason why is because what you want is you want her to throw her Q and miss it. Because as soon as she throws that E or Q and misses it, now you can move up and take a free trade.
Okay.
Because the third part of winning a 1v1 is cooldowns. It doesn't matter how strong a champion is, normally, right? There are different instances. You have your Darius, you have your like, you know, your Wukong, certain champions where their passive just gives them a bunch of combat stats. But most champions are cooldown reliant. So take Silas for example. If he misses every ability, smack him, right?
Mhm.
So your goal is to learn this pocket and abuse it. Now the difficult thing about working inside of this spacing pocket here
Mhm.
is it takes practice. And the reason that's difficult is because what's going to happen is you are going to die a lot here.
Okay.
No one ever gets really, really good at 1v1ing and spacing without fighting. And when you fight a lot, inevitably, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to die.
Mhm.
But that's the trick, is you have to play on the knife's edge to get comfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
So, what we're going to do for this session is going to be something a little different. I am actually going to invite you to a custom. And what we're going to do is we are going to go mid lane, and I'll take Ari, and you'll take Anivia. And I am just going to throw skill shots out at you. I'm not going to all in you. And your goal is to try and play on that threshold without missing minions. And we're going to do this for only 5 minutes, give or take. What's going on? It feels really weird playing and then having to like turn off part of my brain and not do certain things.
No, I would have took the harder challenge. It's fun.
No,
Oh no,
because
Ari's not that
it
fun.
won't. Because then it won't help you actually learn anything. Because the point is to replicate conditions you're in currently, because those are the conditions you're learning in, not to throw you in like. Because if I threw you in like a Grandmasters, Masters, or like High Diamond, you're not actually gonna learn anything. Okay, so here, right? I throw my Q out. Where am I headed right now? What am I looking at?
You're going to go forward. Little
Am I?
wireless.
What am I looking at? I threw my Q out already.
Mhm.
What am I looking at?
Backwards. Well, right? Oh, side. Or the right way we can call it.
Take in the whole screen.
Huh. To the mage minions. Technically.
Where's my last hit?
Right in front of you. Like the melee.
Right
to the
here.
left.
So what animation am I about to go into?
An auto.
Okay. Did you use your Q?
No.
Punish. That's the sequence that we're like missing right here, right? So you give me this last hit for free. And then you give me the next one for free.
Mhm.
My ability's on cooldown. I threw it at you.
Okay.
That's the trick, right? If I throw my ability out and I hit you, man, that sucks. But if I do it at the wrong time, you do not let me farm. You push me off the farm.
Okay.
That's how you punish me for being over aggressive at the wrong time, right?
So I just do what I do to Annie then.
Yeah, do that to every
Completely.
champion. Right? Now what am I looking at?
The mage up top.
Do you see how easy this was for you? Now, luckily, because it's not getting... Now, you're on cooldown, right? So you back off. You don't continue that trade, which is the smart thing to do. I throw that out. You're level 2. You tell me, where am I going next?
You're gonna go up to the right to that one mage. There to the right. The little itty
I
bitty.
can go here. Where are my minions aggroed?
To the melee one to the left.
We're here. Yeah. So there's 2 options here, right? Okay. So I'm gonna try and hit that and hit you at the same time. As soon as I throw it out, do you have any last hits?
Nope.
You know I'm gonna go for this, or this,
Mhm.
or this.
Yeah.
Your Q should be in the air. Even if
Okay.
it doesn't land, I have to drop CS.
Okay.
And it happens that fast. That's the tricky part. Is like all of these things happen that fast, right?
Mhm.
So we'll kind of continue here. We'll get to a little bit further in this lane, right? Positioning up, good trade. Now, the next thing, let's click on you so we have an eye on your cooldowns here. Okay. This is about to be up, this is about to be up. What are you going to hold those abilities to keep me from getting?
The cannon minion.
The cannon minion. Yes. So I either have to do one of two things, right?
Mhm.
And let's move up a little bit here. You have egg, right?
Yeah.
You have full health. This is kind of a fast track lesson in resource management. Is it worth it for you to lose this much health to stop me from getting this cannon?
Yeah.
Okay. So where should you position?
In front of the cannon, or to the side, a little farther up.
Yeah, exactly. Because my Q will go through you and the cannon, right? So I either have to decide to use my abilities here, or you move over here, and I have to decide to use my abilities here. So now I'm stuck with crap. I can either do this, or I can either do this. And if I auto attack one and then throw my, if I throw EQW out here, I'm gonna get chunked for a bunch of health. Or I can throw my abilities out here, but I'm gonna get chunked for a bunch of health. So realistically, what the RE player does in this instance is they either completely back off because they're scared and they don't know what to do, or you chunk them for a bunch of health and you lose this much health too. But you'll take that trade every day, right? Because now this person's diveable. So let's watch how this plays out, right? And I positioned over here, right? Which is fine, but realistically, if you would have come down in here, right, while the cannon was here, you could have zoned me off all of this, right? I wouldn't have been able to move up into this area.
Okay.
Right? So my Q's back up, everything else is back up. I use my... See, there's another instance, right? And I know that we kind of keep looking at like the same thing over and over, but it's just pattern recognition is what I'm trying to get down with you right now, right? So, and I know I keep asking you this question. I promise I'm not being annoying. I'm just trying to get your brain firing. Where am I going?
The caster minion.
The caster minion. And I used my Q, right? So you move up here. You throw your Q out. You zone me off this, right?
Yeah.
But I end up just getting to like throw it out for free. Now the nice thing is you can throw your Q out here and you can still use your E to collect your last hit. You don't have to commit your entire combo to me just because one ability lands, right? Because if you land one ability, you get a CS and I miss a CS, it's still net positive, right? It doesn't have to be all on the champion or all on the wave. You have the ability to split your resources, and it's completely justifiable to do so.
Okay.
Now, the one thing I would say is, it seems like what's happening quite often is you are using your E to secure last hits, but because you're using your E to secure last hits, it is eating your mana bar a little bit. Which is just something to keep an eye on. Because anything that you can secure with your E that isn't a cannon minion, you probably could have secured with an auto attack, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a 40 damage difference, but at the end of the day, that's a timing issue. That's not like a champion issue, right?
Mhm.
right? Like we're missing minions here that are very gettable, right?
Yeah.
It's just a timing issue. So I don't think we need to look at much more in terms of trading in the 1v1s, but every 1v1 mid is won or lost off of the things that we talked about. Number 1, matchup. Number 2, being spacing, right? And I
Mhm.
think you can see it now that we did like a little 1v1 scenario. You see what I mean by spacing? You see how you control this zone of pressure around the wave?
Yeah.
And then number 3 being cooldowns, right? You
Mhm.
do these 3 things, you can kill anybody mid lane.
Okay.
Because even if they have the advantage here, if they mess this up and they mess this up, they'll get low enough that you can just kill them.
Okay.
The other thing to consider is there are certain matchups. I know you take Electrocute every game. There are certain
Mhm.
matchups where you may want to consider changing what you're taking. For example, that high level Anivia player took Ignite into Yasuo. Why do you
Mhm.
think he took Ignite into Yasuo?
Well, the shield is probably a big one that, other than the range shield, his little, would you call it his passive or whatever? Like if you hit him against that shield,
You think he took Ignite to
oh,
get rid of the passive?
like to secure it.
Okay, so I will tell you most likely why he took Ignite. Yasuo is a monster 1 through 3 and 3 through
Mhm.
6, right?
Yeah.
He wants to fight you. So if you take a combat summoner,
Mhm.
you make that fight harder on him and less likely he wins. Now
Okay.
he's still stronger, right? If he plays well and
Mhm.
blocks your Q, but it gives you a slight advantage here that might save your life in lane.
Okay.
The other thing is when you're playing against a Yasuo or certain champions, their goal is
Mhm.
to freeze the wave right here. Now, before your 6, right? Like, if I
Mhm.
was Yasuo right now and the wave was frozen right here, and you're level 4 and not 6, this is a terrible spot for you to be, right?
Mhm.
Because I can run you all the way down the lane. However, if you just walk at me and throw Ignite on me, and throw your abilities at me and then damage the wave real fast, I'll probably get
Mhm.
low enough that you can crash the wave and get out of here, and I can't fight you. Now,
Okay.
a lot of people look at that and they're like, but Ignite's for killing. And it's like, no, Ignite is not for killing. Ignite is for combat. If you can win a combat and it sets up your reset, Ignite will be back in 3 minutes, okay? So use it.
Okay.
Really, really high level top laners will do this all the time. They'll walk into areas like this and they'll literally just,
Mhm.
at half health, ignite the other top laner, throw like 2 abilities on him. The enemy top laner's health bar is like this, so they have to back
Yeah.
up all the way to here and then they go reset. Their goal was never to get a kill because they're not
Mhm.
trying to dive. Their goal is just to set up their reset.
Okay.
Now, something else when you're thinking about 1v1s potentially could be what what summoner is going to be more useful for you throughout a game. So, for example, like if you're playing into a Zed, right?
Yeah.
And you're holding your Q, right? That's great.
Mhm.
But after your Q wears off, he's still going to do a lot of damage if he's in range, right? Or if he
Yeah.
lands his abilities. Because a lot of mid laners, especially the assassins, are built around skill shots, right? Some of them are point and click, some of them aren't. So if I was playing Anivia and I'm going into Zed,
Huh?
what summoner do you think would be better than Electrocute?
Comment. Or yeah, probably comment.
Think,
I would say comment.
well, think about it this way. You want a short trade, he wants an
Mhm.
extended trade. How do you make sure that he doesn't get an extended trade after your trade?
Gain health.
Yeah, but you can't gain health, and if you can't do that,
Uh,
let me.
Other thing to think about is tempo, probably.
Tempo is kind of a word for it, but not exactly. So let me draw it out, and I think it'll help. So let's say, well, let's say this is Zed. Zed
Mhm.
jumps on you. You queue him right here. You get your trade. Okay,
Mhm.
he has all of his abilities up. You're standing right here. Where do you want to be? Do you want to go this way? Do you want to go this way? Do you want to go this way? Do you want to go that way? Which direction? One,
Probably
two,
want to start going to
three,
top
four.
left
Yeah,
or to 4.
four, right? You want to get away from him. So,
Mhm.
what is Anivia's main trading pattern? It's Q,
E.
E, and then
R.
R or an auto, right?
W. Yeah.
So, I'm gonna give you the answer. Take phase rush.
Base rush.
Yeah, you Q, E, R or auto in this tight
Mhm.
window, and then you just run like a Rise player.
Which one is that under?
It's under the same tree as Comet.
Common. Resolution, inspiration. Would I just also then just build
Same
mana
build.
flow ban?
Yeah, you could take Mana Flow Band if you wanted, but it,
Mhm.
the point that I'm making is if you're concerned about 1v1s in your game and you're like, oh crap, this guy is scary. I need to survive. Take
Mhm.
something that helps you survive. Because at the end of the day, Electrocute, it's not doing anything for you late game, right?
Yeah.
It's an early game kill pressure rune. So if you're not
Mhm.
gonna take Electrocute and Ignite and you're not like 100% gonna fight the person, take something that's gonna help you survive, right? Because I'm
Uh huh.
assuming that in your second tree you're taking the blue runes anyways, right?
No, I'm taking Coupe de Grace and Presence of Mind.
Poop de grace.
Coupe de whatever you call it.
I like
French
that.
words.
I like that. Yeah, honestly, you could keep that as your secondary and then go the
Mhm.
blue runes first, especially because I know you like to build Swifty boots.
Uh huh.
So imagine Swifty boots with Phase Rush Anivia. Just zooming around.
So would I use that against more like assassin types?
Anything you're looking to survive against. Like Ari, you're looking to fight.
Mhm.
That's totally fine. I'm thinking
So if
about
it's like an Ari or like
I'm thinking
a
about your
range.
Fizz, right?
Uh huh. Well, I ban Fizz.
I'm thinking
Just
about
me.
your Zed. I'm thinking about your Talon, right?
Mhm.
Because the problem with these champions is they're going to jump on you. You're going to win the short trade here. But
Mhm.
then after the short trade, you're right here. That's as far as you can run away, right?
Yeah.
I don't want you to be there. I want you to be here.
So I take phase. Okay. Okay then.
Now you don't have to, but I
Yeah.
just think it would help you out more than you realize.
Because like electrocute's good if it's like a mage. I've
Mm-hmm.
realized.
Because they're very
But if I go
squishy, right?
against but if I go against the Yasuo, it's really not gonna. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna end up landing 3 things after level 3.
Exactly. And the other thing is, you have to remember that Phase Rush can be procced by auto attacks. So realistically, let's
Oh.
say that this is Yasuo, right? And
Mhm.
let me fix the camera here. Let's say that this is Yasuo, right? You throw
Yeah.
your Q out. I wind wall. Haha, I'm a jerk. I dash.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Auto, E, auto, run.
Okay.
And if you don't run into a wave, right, and you run out
Mm-hmm.
this way, like I'll get one more Q on you, but I'm not gonna catch you.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you really want to be annoying, or like, wow, this Yasuo matchup really, really sucks,
Mhm.
don't take this. Take exhaust.
Exhaust. Okay. Does that
Because
slow down his dash too?
it slows down his
Or-
movement speed and it cuts his damage.
Oh.
So, something you'll see a lot of higher elo players do is they adapt their runes and they
Mhm.
adapt their specific summoner spells for every single matchup they play. So, this cuts someone's um reduces their damage by 40%,
Mhm.
or no, it slows them by 40% and it cuts their damage by 35% for 3 seconds.
Okay.
So like you could just throw that on top of a Yasuo as soon as he ults you, and then
Mhm.
just Q auto E and run away.
Okay.
You know, I'm not saying that this is like gonna be something you do all the time. Same with Ignite,
Mhm.
not something you're gonna do all the time. Teleport is still going to be your standard, but really start thinking about and looking at some of these other champions that people are playing against. Um,
Mhm.
let's go to League of Graphs, and we'll look at kind of Anivia, and I just start looking at some of these matchups, right? And what
Mhm.
people are doing into them, right? Like, okay, so Anivia versus, well, let's just do this. Anivia versus Zed. And I've done this a lot when I've been playing stuff. You can go on LoL Analytics,
Mhm.
and you can just type it into Google, right?
Yeah.
54% with this,
Mhm.
almost 100% with this, almost 100% with this. The pick rate is obviously way lower. You know, this is out of
Yeah.
715 games. Anivia has a 52% win rate. People usually build this, right? Survivability
Mhm.
core build makes sense. They're going this. A lot of them are still going electrocute into this matchup. But then again, I'm gonna be honest.
Mhm.
Let's look through all of the runes here. Some people go grasp into this. Some people go conqueror. Interesting.
That's
Now,
huh.
I'm not saying that that's perfect. I'm much
Yeah.
more likely rather to follow a site like this. I'm much more likely, in my opinion, to um. Let's go to your profile here, and let's go back to the Anivia rankings. Actually, I wonder if one of my friends might actually be up here in like the top 50 or so Anivia players. I'm not seeing him, but he's a Masters Anivia player. Um, much more likely to see this and
Mhm.
go into this guy's match history and go, okay, is he taking electrocute every game? What, you know, specifically, how is he playing? Right? Okay, he's taking
Yeah.
Ignite into this wasn't, yeah. Another reason why he maybe took Ignite this game is because there's a Warwick and there's a
Mhm.
Zac, right?
Yeah.
And there's a Yasuo. All three of these people are going to be healing a crap ton. You know, so
Mhm.
built-in healing cut so he doesn't have to build, you know, an Oblivion orb as early. Might be the reason.
Okay. Is he playing Anivia support?
He could be. It doesn't look
Oh, I
like
saw
it.
I saw Zack Sax once. That's probably just one game.
Let's see here. I'm just kind of going through. It looks like he takes TP and an electrocute into almost every matchup. So maybe that is just like the standard of like what everybody's doing, and they don't really split it up all that much. But I do think that especially if you're gonna one trick, it's worth kind of investigating what some of these people are doing.
Mhm.
You know, you'll learn a lot just by looking at, okay, so he's going Ignite because he's into a Silas. That makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense. You know,
Yeah.
this guy's also going Ignite. He's into
And Bessa, right?
Mbessa. Interesting. It looks like he was top lane. Some flex. He even went Ignite into Galio. So maybe this guy's just a big Ignite lover. He's also a giant Swain lover. My goodness. Ignite, 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 Ignite. Yeah. This guy never takes TP. Interesting. So then what I would do, if I were you, obviously that
Mhm.
guy's D1. This guy's obviously, you know, challenger right now.
Yeah.
He's got games out here. I'd sit down and watch one of these games and see like, okay, how is this guy using his TP? How is he positioning in lane? How is he
Mhm.
using his abilities to trade? Anything that anybody else can do on a champion in League of Legends, you can emulate.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing about this game is unlike, you know, a lot of sports or a lot of other things, there's no physicality holding you back. There's no
Mhm.
natural talent holding you back. You can literally be this guy if you watch him and copy what he does and
Okay.
understand why. You know, the
Yeah.
understanding why is kind of more so what we've been covering in our sessions rather than like drilling specific things, right?
Mhm.
Now, the one thing that I was thinking about, I watched a few of your games, also via kind of the trading exercise we just did. Something that I do want you to start doing, because I think that it is going to help you immensely. I want you to go into Practice Tool. Do you know how to reset a game in Practice Tool?
No.
I will show you how to do it. And this is exactly what I want you to do. I want you to just go into Practice Tool, just pick, you know, Anivia, whatever, pick a better skin. And I'll show you
She
some
needs a
like
new skin. She needs something new.
she's got quite a few skins. She's got a good amount of chromas too, but it would be nice to see her get something new for sure.
There's so much stuff they could do.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. You can buy your item, that's fine.
Mhm.
This right here will allow you to reset game,
Mhm.
that's fine. And then the next thing you're gonna do is you can just get out to like about here. I could have just TP'd, I guess, but I wasn't thinking about it. I'm just gonna fast forward 30 seconds. Alright, and then I'm gonna fast forward another 30 seconds. It's fine. Okay, the minions are here, whatever. I don't care about how they like land here exactly. Your goal is to just auto attack and go
Mhm.
5 minutes without dropping a single CS. And get close, get far away, right? Like I just missed one. Missed another one. And do this for 5 minutes just before you play a game. Not before every game, but just like in general. Because what'll happen is it will get you in the habit of just passively learning the tempo. And then when you go into game, you won't be thinking about this on top of everything else. This will just become a natural thing for you.
So if I restart the game, does that just reset everything? Everything?
Boom.
Oh.
So if you do like the first two waves and you drop like 5 minions
Mhm.
out of the first two waves and you're like, oh gosh, this is terrible, just reset.
Okay.